Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. We got a Jamaican against a Scottish guy.
Right. Yeah. I say he's a baby face because he is a literal baby face. Yeah.
Oh my! It's just like, I mean, it's 14 years ago. Drew looks, like he's 12 years old, a muscular 12-year-old nonetheless. Kofi Kingston still Jamaican, man.
Yep.
I mean, it's just this is wild, man. This will be fun. And I told you before we hit record, I have no recollection of there ever being a pay-per-view called Fatal 4-Way.
Same here. Like I got nothing. Which there was a bunch of Fatal 4-Man and some good stuff here, but like I don't remember any of it.
How'd you find this match?
So this was because of Drew. I wanted to kind of go back into the coffers because as much as we always hear the Drew story, now that he's re-signed, and of course you should have believed it from the start. Like he wasn't ever going to AEW. He wasn't leaving. And maybe it was a handshake deal for a while there, but dude got, maybe they were seeing what happened after Mania season, but
and he doesn't fit AEW. I understand Edge going to AEW. Like a guy like McIntyre doesn't fit AEW. No. Sheamus doesn't fit AEW. I mean, some of these guys were like, you hear their contract is up. I'm like, Seth Rollins ain't leaving. Like, are you kidding me? No. And again, these guys, and the amount of money they're making, they're worldwide stars. The company's hotter than ever. The schedule's not what it was. Triple H is far better to work for. I mean, why in the world would you leave? You're headlining WrestleManias. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we always hear the stories about like Drew had to leave or whatever it was, and so I've watched. We both some of his indie circuit matches and kind of saw some of that stuff, and so it's interesting. So I really wanted to go back as much as Drew's been. He's been a great worker lately too. You figure he's a top 5 with some of these out there right now, and so I wanted to go back and see an early Drew match because I had not. And when I was kind of looking through, kind of see what was out there, like you said, this Fatal 4 popped up, which I don't remember any of that, but it was a pretty good overall show and kind of who was on the match, who was on the card. And why not? It's just one of he's young as hell in this one. And so, because we're 2010, but he doesn't look anything like he looks nowadays, just incredible. But yeah, I'm excited though. This should be an interesting one to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited to cover this. I think it'll be fun to talk Drew McIntyre. It'll be fun to talk Kofi during the match and kind of take a look at their careers and some of their top matches. So got a lot to cover on this one. Let's jump into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
So this pay-per-view, this Fatal 4-Way, again, no recollection whatsoever of this ever taking place. They only did one of these. So at one point, this was the Great American Bash, the name they got from WCW. So they did that 2004 to 2009. Then in 2009, it was the Bash. Then here we are in 2010, June 20th, 2010. We're now calling this Fatal 4-Way. So interesting. And then there was a NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way. Let's see what year that would have been. That was in 2014. So just to give you a little lineage on the Fatal 4-Way concept. We had 10,000 people. We're in the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, home of the Islanders. And we start off with the local darling, Zack Ryder, defeating MVP in a dark match. First match on the show, Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre for the IC title, which we're going to cover. We then have our first of 3 fatal 4-way matches. This was for the Divas Championship with Alicia Fox winning it over Eve Torres, who was your champion, Gail Kim, and Maurice in 5 minutes. Entrances probably took longer than that. Evan Bourne is going to defeat Chris Jericho in 12 minutes.
Do you see how many stars that match got? That is a 4-star Evan Bourne match.
Dude, maybe we have to cover that.
I added it. We'll cover it. Yeah,
absolutely. Rey Mysterio is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship in 10 minutes, defeating your champion Jack Swagger, Big Show, and CM Punk. This is fun. The Miz retains his U.S. Championship in 13 minutes against R-Truth.
Yep.
Your second to last match is the Hart Dynasty defeating the Usos in Tamina. That's fun. And then your main event, another fatal 4-way. Sheamus is going to win the WWE Championship in 17 minutes, defeating John Cena, Edge, and Randy Orton. So Sheamus wins the title in a fatal 4-way. Rey Mysterio wins the other title in a fatal 4-way. And Alicia Fox wins the Divas Championship in a fatal 4-way. It just goes to show you that when you put 4 competitors in the ring for a championship, the odds are that there will be a new champion crowned.
Crazy.
So that's it. How do we get to Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre?
Yeah, so let's kind of go back even a little bit further on this one, just because not everybody remembers Drew's career at this point, or kind of, like I said, the true baby face of this. And so we'll kind of at this point, and so this fatal 4-way taking place, it was June 2010, but we're going to go back to Survivor Series, actually 2009. He was actually the only SmackDown superstar to survive against Team Morrison on that show. So he then feuded with John Morrison for a little bit, taking on putting him number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship, at TLC, which would have been that December 2009. And so you had throughout that, of course, he was doing the kind of Scottish heritage type stuff as well too, wearing the kilt and kind of having that. And so but that was actually his first championship, was at this TLC show, winning the Intercontinental Championship. It was actually McIntyre pinned Morrison after a thumb to the eye to win the championship, his first one. And so they kept feuding, kind of retaining the championship. He also took on Kane at Elimination Chamber, winning that one as well too. And he was actually undefeated leading up into a Money in the Bank qualifying match where Kane beat him in late February 2010. But you had, and this kind of speaks to, we've said it, like Vince McMahon was kind of behind him and kind of making him the next big star. And so he ended up losing.
What did they call it? The next big, no, not next big thing. The one, what was his like, not next big thing. What was the moniker? Do you remember?
I don't know, not offhand.
Oh,
so
I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll kind of do that. And so, but Teddy Long, or Vince making Teddy Long expunge the losses. And so
the chosen one.
The chosen one. That's what it was. Yes. Okay. We were close. Kane kind of not having that loss count, Matt Hardy not having that loss, but he ended up failing to win the Money at the Bank match. That was when it was still at WrestleMania. That would have been 26. 26 was his first WrestleMania appearance as well too. And so he continued to feud with Matt Hardy after that. And so he ended up getting the title stripped and suspended. It was part of storyline on that one. Vince, of course, saying that he had to be reinstated. Kind of, just a lot of back and forth there and kind of dealing with that. And so you ended up finally, it was actually McIntyre facing Kofi, who had won a tournament to determine the new champ after it was vacated. It was actually Over the Limit. It was in May, so a month prior to this. And then losing the champ, or losing, so Kofi having the belt at this point, or winning the belt at this point, but Drew losing it after 161 days. And so on the flip to this, of course, like we said, Kofi was involved in this at the end here. In kind of having that tournament. being involved in that. And so this was really kind of the second match between these guys after this over the limit match where Drew, however you make the count, whether it's vacated, not Drew had it, whatever. But Kofi has the belt coming into this one against Drew at this Fatal 4-Way show.
There you go. You ready to cover this one?
I am.
All right, we're at the 10-minute mark.
I have no clue. I have no clue where this is going to go, but I'm excited.
I am too. We got a lot to talk about. So 10-minute mark, Fatal 4-Way, 2010. You ready?
Let's go.
It's time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
All right, young-looking Drew in the ring, getting booed. Kofi Kingston, your Jamaican baby face. We're off and running. Hey, did you know that Drew McIntyre was married for 1 year in 2010?
I did not. To who?
So her name is Taryn Terrell, and she's a wrestler, or was a wrestler.
Sounds familiar.
So I don't remember her at all. So she was in FCW in 2007 to 2010. She was part of the 2007 Diva Search. She was a 279-day champion as TNA knockout champion.
Under the ring name
That
Tiffany.
was in 2019. Yeah, Tiffany.
Yep.
I don't either. So she was married. Yeah, she was married to Drew McIntyre for 1 year.
Some wrestling love. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Don't remember. All right. Out of the gate here, you got Kofi kind of clotheslining Drew out of the ring, kind of getting over. Yep. And so two of them just going at it.
Oh.
Big dive to the outside there too. Yep. Fatal 4-Way, it's really interesting. I don't know if this necessarily works as a pay-per-view concept. I think that it is a little bit too, especially I feel like Fatal 4-Way matches are just not, they get sloppy quick if you're not careful. And so I feel like that you just got to really watch that. So I'm glad we do not have Fatal 4-Way anymore.
Did you ever see, or do you remember the clip of when Drew McIntyre, it was after he got released, when he returned to whatever promotion in Scotland that he started in? Go watch that clip if you haven't seen it. So I forget the name of the promotion. He comes out. I think he was in like a hood. I think like the lights went out. He was in like a black hoodie or something. This building, and it was a small venue, erupted. It was so, and he got like, emotional. I mean, it was so cool. And it's like, I saw that and it's like, man, this guy's just a star, right? And then, he worked the indies for a little bit and then back in NXT. But I mean, you see where they saw the potential in him. But the problem is when you take a young guy that's green, he probably shouldn't have been on TV. He should have probably been in NXT at this point. And then you call him the chosen one, and people are like, well, we'll choose who it is. It's funny. They did the same shit with Austin Theory.
Yep.
It's when you like do these like anointed people. It's just, I mean, even you could even argue that's what they initially did with The Rock. Oh, this guy's a 8th generation superstar, and he's the next big star in the WWF. And it's like, fuck you. Like, we'll tell you who the next star is. So you can't do that.
Who anointed him too? Both Austin Theory, Drew. You got to remember that. Like, this was Vince that was anointing them, and so whether good or bad, like I would almost be funny to go back. He had. I feel like, in regards to those types of situations, I don't know if he had more hits or misses. We don't know who he was truly behind at any point, but Drew we knew he was. Theory we knew he was. Like, he was filming segments with Theory, like same with Drew, and so you got Teddy Long ringside too because Vince he had having to do Vince's bidding at this point. So Yep.
And then was Drew part of that 4-way match we saw at NXT?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
So Joe was
I'll
in
pull up
that
the
match.
photos. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we saw a fatal four-way. It was kind of like the second iteration of NXT. Like you initially had like the those early guys like Rollins and stuff, but then like we went to a show where Joe was there. It's a fatal four-way. I want to say Drew was part of that match, but Jeff will find it. Just going through some of the Drew's top matches. I mean, you forget this guy's had a lot of really, really good matches. Only one 5-star match. And again, this is all subjective according to Meltzer, but that Gunther and Sheamus 3-way match was a 5-star match. But a Money in the Bank match, a War Games match, a 4.5-star match with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins against Ziggler and McIntyre. That's kind of fun. But a lot of really good matches. I mean, some Roman Reigns matches and Seth Rollins, and this is kind of fun. In 2017, Jeff, this might be a good one in 2017, Drew Galloway and Will Ospreay had a really highly rated match. That's kind of fun. Yeah.
So I'm looking at it. So I did not remember this. So it was Shinsuke and who is this? Roderick Strong when you and I were there versus Joe and Bobby Roode.
Oh, okay.
That was our NXT main
match.
event. Yeah.
Okay.
I see there's some Asuka photos in here though. I see DIY. Who else do we have here? Yeah.
That's a shame that glorious. Remember how hot that was for a minute?
Oh man, yeah. I see the Iconics. Who is the guitar? Elias. Yep, I see Elias here having a match. Yeah. Yep, there's DIY. Ember Moon.
I mean, this is actually, I always pull kind of these top matches up. I mean, Drew has just on Cage Match, he has 33 matches that are 4.25 or higher.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at them. I mean, they're just good. I mean, a couple of Sheamus matches, a couple of Orton matches. So, I just a lot of good ones.
Mm. All right, I told you I was going to do this on air, Tom. I'm gonna crack open first. So I have invested in some Prime, and so because we haven't had it, and so yeah.
And tell me, is this like a hydration drink, an energy drink? What is Prime supposed to do to you?
It says, okay, so we're doing this because I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I haven't had one. I want to do this. So it says literally on the bottle, hydration drink. And so developed to fill the void where great taste meets function with bold thirst-quenching flavors to help you refresh, replenish, and refuel. Prime is the perfect boost for every endeavor. We're confident you'll love it as much as we do. Humbly, the Prime team. And so it says 10% coconut water, B vitamins, antioxidants, electrolytes, like all that stuff. Because we like to do this. 20 calories. The serving size is 1 bottle. And so... and I know that we've seen this stuff out there that there's all kinds of garbage in it as well too. So it's gluten-free and caffeine-free. So I have ice. I looked up online some of the better flavors. This is Ice Pop. And so I am literally opening this up for the first time here. It's a nice like rainbow color, or not rainbow, but red, white, and blue colored bottle. So that's kind of nice. That's interesting. That tastes like, and I read this is what it does taste like, and I agree with it. Remember, it literally those firework popsicles, the red, white, and blue popsicle. That is literally in liquid form. That is what Ice Pop tastes like.
Oh, okay.
It's actually not bad. It's not too sweet. That's actually pretty good. I figured it was going to be sweeter. I feel like too Gatorade sometimes it gets a little tangy, or it kind of sizzles a little bit, if you will. That goes down pretty easy. So
okay,
I think a full bottle of that would be too much. And then I also have it said this was the best one. This is actually hard to find. I had to go to 3 different stores for this one. Strawberry banana.
Oh,
25
I would like
calories. That. Yep. Same thing. Hydration drink. Same.
Okay.
Everything's the same on here. 10% coconut water. It looks like they're all coconut.
What do these things cost? Like $3?
Yeah, under 3. I paid $2.50. Yeah.
Okay.
Per bottle. So we're opening up strawberry banana at this point. Ooh, it smells good. Oh, that's really good. You big time get the strawberry banana flavor on that.
I'll go try it.
I recommend the strawberry banana.
Okay.
That's good. I feel like, yeah. All right, there we go. Full bottles of them.
Strawberry banana. Okay.
Back to the match. Okay. With all the product placement, I feel like we had to, not a sponsor of the show, but we wanted to, we bring you all the research around here.
Kofi Kingston, what is his highest? This is a trivia question for you. What is his highest rated singles match?
Kofi? Oh boy. I'm going to guess it's probably a 4.5, but I don't know what match it could be.
It is a 4.5.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea.
WrestleMania 35, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, the Daniel Bryan match. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Has that been? I almost want to go back and watch that one. I mean, do we have a minimum on how long it has to be since a match occurred?
I try and keep us at least like anymore. Try and get anything before 2010, but I guess at this point it's 2024, so we could really go. It's
only been 5 years.
Yeah, maybe 5 years.
Maybe we'll do that match in 5 more years.
We'll wait a little bit. I'll add it to the list. Yeah, that's fine. So what are some of his other big matches? Do you have it?
There was a Cesaro match that was 4.25 stars.
Okay. Cool.
Him and Big E against the Usos and against Kalisto and Sin Cara in a triple threat ladder match for the tag titles.
I feel like a lot of his stuff would be ladder matches. Yeah. Or Royal Rumbles or stuff like that where he gets the spot.
There was a 4.5 star Elimination Chamber match from 2019 with Styles, Bryan, Hardy, Orton, and Joe.
Okay.
There's a Money in the Bank ladder match from 2014.
Called it.
Survivor Series elimination. He's been a lot of multi-man matches. Another Money in the Bank match, 6-pack ladder match. So that was from WrestleMania. Yeah.
So they're moving quick in this match now. You've got Kofi high flying a little bit here. The fans are kind of clapping and cheering and stuff like that. Look at we talked about it last week too. Look at the different red blue lighting on the crowd and stuff like that. Like it just looks so much better. Like, add a little bit of dynamic, lighting to the situation. It looks great. And so not Seth, yikes. Drew getting a foot up on the rope there, kind of break the pin.
So I had an interesting Twitter exchange, which you were privy to, and I won't name names. But the short version of this is Meltzer said that Goldberg and Tony Khan were friends. And I believe he used the term good friends. Okay. And I responded and I said, that is almost impossible for me to believe. Now, you can say they've spoken. You can say that perhaps they've negotiated. You can say that they are friendly. Okay. Mm-hmm. But to say that they're good friends, to insinuate that they're like boys, I just said it's impossible. And the reality is, and again, you can agree, disagree, Tony Khan, in the minds of the vast majority of the professional wrestling performers, is a money mark. Okay. He's not friends with them. If Tony Khan was not the son of a billionaire that had a wrestling promotion, him and Edge would not be friends. Him and Christian would not be friends. Him and Sting would not be friends. So because of a few circumstances where Shad Khan made billions and gave money to his son while he was still alive and allowed his son to do whatever he wanted, and his son chose to start a wrestling promotion because he's a big wrestling mark, Tony Khan happens to have relationships with wrestlers. That's why. So this idea that Goldberg and Tony Khan are friends, I call bullshit on it. Okay. Now, a different wrestling journalist said basically you're full of shit. Like why would you say that? And I said, I'd say it because it's true, because I'm completely confident that Tony Khan and Goldberg are not friends. Now, what came out after that? Well, after that, it came out that Goldberg called Tony Khan's business cheesy. It came out that they were arguing over whether or not they ever negotiate. They're not friends. Okay, so obviously I was proven right that they are not friends. Because, Jeff, if I'm friends with you, I don't call your business cheesy. If I'm friends with you, we aren't arguing in the media about what we did or didn't say or negotiated or didn't negotiate, right? So turned out it was completely bullshit. But the best part is,
I want to be clear too. Your source of Goldberg, saying it was cheesy, and Goldberg saying that it wasn't going to work out in AEW was Goldberg.
Yes, and Meltzer saying that they're friends. Either Tony Khan said that, which you're wrong. You think you're friends with somebody that you're not. And it was proven wrong by what Goldberg said in the media, or Meltzer just fucking made it up because he makes stuff up. Oh, they're friends. And people like go, oh, well, he just said that on a podcast. You're a journalist. You can't say things that aren't true. And that's what he's done his entire career, is he's made things up. He said things that are not true. So Teddy Long's not counting 3 for Drew. He's just not going to do it. So
it's shenanigans.
To close the loop on this story, I then get a threatening message from this unnamed wrestling journalist.
Yep.
DM threatening me like I'm nobody. Like, what are you and angry with me? Like, oh, you're starting shit or whatever it was. I wasn't wrong. I had every right to speculate that, hey, I don't think they're friends, and I think this report's bullshit. It turns out it was true. And it's like these wrestling journalists, for the most part, make things up, embellish and speculate and report that as fact, and then they get angry when people call them out on their bullshit because, Jeff, this is how they make a living. Their entire income is predicated on people thinking that what they say is true. But time and time again, what they say is not true, either because they were worked by the boys, or they made things up, or they speculated. And it's just a dirty industry. All right, so Matt Hardy comes in and attacks Drew. Kofi Kingston hits his finisher. Teddy Long, 1, 2, 3. Place is going nuts.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kofi wins the match. Really, really strong, hot opener. Crowd going nuts. Teddy Long wanted him to win, is congratulating him. And he's going to give him the Intercontinental Championship. So, big time win for Kofi Kingston. Very, very big win.
That was
fun.
Good pop, too.
Good match.
That was a fun match.
All right, let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
So, what did you think of this?
That was fun. Not bad. Little shenanigans. It was definitely a sign of the times, kind of doing that. But I think overall, though, it was pretty good. How about you?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I mean, the only problem with Kofi is that the gimmick was stupid. It's like I think he was, like, at the time, a really good worker.
We didn't know it. Yeah.
Really good look, right? Just a really, they saddled him with a really tacky, stupid gimmick. This Ghana Jamaican thing. And it's like, we could have done something better with him, I think. And I think that really hurt him at this point in his career. And remember how over he was? Remember that match? With Orton and Madison Square Garden? So it's like the guy was over. I wish they would have done more with him. But anyways, good match. Crowd was into it. They were into him.
So kind of what happened, aftermath on this one, you had then going into Money in the Bank, you had Kofi actually losing that one. Kane got the briefcase on that one and winning it. And kind of having that, and then his title reign actually ended on SmackDown. He lost against Dolph Ziggler. They'd have a couple rematches. It was SummerSlam, SmackDown, Night of Champions, but he did not win the title again. Drew on the flip side, then we get into the Nexus faction as well here, them attacking McMahon. And so, and that's really actually the death of Drew at that point, kind of dealing with that. And so, and he actually had a storyline.
I want to make a point here real quick.
Yeah.
So we've talked about how, and again, I'm not, my years are going to be a little off, but let's just call it the 2010s. There was a lot of horrible booking. And aren't these two guys like prime examples of this, whatever was happening behind the scenes with Vince and writers and changing things? Both of these guys were completely botched on what they could have been. Now, they both have done well for themselves, Drew especially, in coming back. But it's like, aren't these like two great examples of how bad the booking was during this era?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
I think so.
And so it really crazy when you think about it. But yeah, this one too, Drew ended up then actually having actual real visa issues, and so he had to actually be written off of TV for a little bit because of his visa issues, which I find kind of comical, but I feel like we hear about it all the time in AEW, but just kind of nutty. But okay, PWI, this was, like I said, 2010. The PWI had Drew at 30, Kofi at 26. And observer on this one, Kofi retained the IC title, pinning Drew. Much more heated than you'd think, and better as well. Just kind of going back and forth. McIntyre started yelling at Long, who was begging off. Hardy did his run in, hitting the twist of fate on McIntyre. Kingston then used the Trouble in Paradise for the pin, 3 stars. And so nothing from the Torch on this one. So I got 3 stars.
It was better than 3 stars.
Yeah, what are you going to give it?
I got it at 6.5. I thought it was a good match. Crowd was into it. I really, a little shenanigans, which I thought added to the match. I thought it was good. It made sense from a storyline standpoint. I actually really like this.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5 as well. Along with you, I think that this just it worked, kind of doing this, and they had a good match. Yes, it had a kind of a wonky finish, but at the same time, they worked hard. They still had a 12-13 minute match that was actually really good. A lot of action inside, outside the ring, all kinds of stuff. And so, I thought that was good.
This was a fun one. Good find on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I'm glad we got to see this version of Drew as well too. It's just super interesting. And so with that, of course, don't forget manscaped.com, using our promo code PAYOFF. It's getting you 20% off, free shipping, everything in the store. It's absolutely worth it. If you don't have any of their products yet, after as long, we haven't been, kind of having them as a sponsor and kind of talking about them as long as we have.
For a couple years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And so I would tell everybody, please make sure to kind of check out their stuff, go find it. Even, there's some more inexpensive stuff out there that it's just not worth it. And so the stuff you can get off Amazon or something like that, buy something that's actually good. So, with that, pay our manscaped.com, using the promo code PAYOFF. And so, let's send them home happy.
Love it. This was fun. I'm really intrigued by what we're going to cover next week, but
yep.
Appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Payoff.